Hey everybody!
Hi everyone!
We are on super slippery rock in front of one of 7 waterfalls up in the Sabino Canyon. Say more about it.
Yeah, we're actually in the Sabino recreation area, and at the base of every one of these falls is the most idyllic swimming hole, although right now it's a little on the cold side, so only the hardy. And being from Montana, we consider ourselves among those. So who knows? We may go ahead and jump in. Yeah. But we're glad to be with you for the May update.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Can't believe it's already May, but we say that every month, I think.
Yeah, I think we do.
And so here we are, and this month, the thing that we are focused on is adaptability.
Adaptability.
Yeah, and so we've both been thinking about adaptability from the standpoint of all beings. Right now, we are adapting to the wind by using this technology that may help us be heard.
We're also relying on a sense of balance that leans us strong into the wind, because it really wants to blow us in this pool.
Does.
If it did that, you're in for a rare treat.
Whoa, and we're getting some water spray.
We're hoping that doesn't happen. Anyway, adaptability, it's the thing of nature and of us. Why? Because the thing you can count on always is change. This world is always changing, and those who have survived over long periods, many generations, are those who have adapted to all kinds of changes.
And so one thing that I would find myself saying to my graduate students and reminding myself of all the time, there was a moment back there, some of you have heard this from me, where you were born, and then a lot of days passed and it became today, and you're still here and you're watching this video. So something is working, and among the very crucial things that is working is your adaptability. And you share that superpower with all beings in the natural world.
Yeah, there's kind of at least two different kinds of adaptability that I'm thinking of. One is what Mary's suggesting, that when situations change today, we make decisions based on that change in real time. And then there's, of course, the adaptability that's happened over a long period of time evolutionarily. So you've got elephants who live in hot places with enormous ears, and those ears carry miles and miles of capillaries, and those capillaries take the heat from their body and dissipate it so they can stay cool in that hot weather. And that sort of thing. You've got camels with, those long eyelashes of camels. That's because they live in sandy places, and those long eyelashes help keep the sand out of their eyes. So, boy, from an evolutionary standpoint, wow, adaptation is the theme.
Yeah, it really is. We've been learning some from lizards here lately. Lizards have not been that active a part of our lives up in the Intermountain West, but my goodness, as soon as the cactus flowers start blooming, there are creepies and crawlies everywhere. And the way that they have adapted over time is quite instructive to all of us. They know how to hold still, they know how to run, they know how to look like the stone that they're on. And not just chameleons, a lot of them have that capacity.
And they're running around cacti that have not only come up with ways to create plant surface material that retains water in their fleshy parts, but then also knowing when to bloom, how to coordinate their blooms to the time when the pollinators are around. So there's this massive adaptation that comes as a community, as well as adaptation that comes just as individuals. It's almost always a dance among many partners.
Right. So the bees adapting, the pollinators adapting to when the flowers are open. It goes on and on and on and on. And so how do humans adapt? Well, we were talking about that a little earlier with these mics that we have that will help us be heard by you, we hope.
We hope.
We hope. The other thing that those of you who have any age on you at all have either had huge differences in this, or you lived a lot of your life without this.
Yeah.
And now we've adapted to using them so much that we believe we need them. Mm-hmm. We don't know what to do without them. Yeah, so that's an adaptation. But one that may be more helpful even still is when humans adapted to using fire to cook food. And that was something that was quite slow and came on. There's zillions of examples. What were you going to say, Luke?
Well, I'll stick with your fire comment. I mean, not only adapting as far as running and catching a burning ember after a lightning strike, but ultimately, of course, learning the bow drill techniques necessary to take fire with you wherever you go. What a life changer. What an adaptation.
Yeah, it's been shrunk into a Bic lighter.
Bic lighter or a diamond match.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh,
and
we're seeing ravens
adapting to the
wind.
target, to the what's the word that I'm looking for?
The updraft?
Updrafts, thank you, targets. Yeah, well, I don't know.
Probably that too.
Yeah, they're really captivating. It's like they're holding still in air.
You know,
really...
another thing about adaptation is that adaptation we're going to have to, and we already are facing when it comes to climate change. I mean, there's the adaptation that we need to do things differently than we've done in the past, and there's wonderful technologies, sustainable energy technologies for one, happening in response to that, but there's also adaptation going on in the here and now among other creatures. I always thought it was interesting that the sea lions off the California coast have really diversified their diet and started going out away farther from shore than they used to find food, because the changes in the temperature of the ocean water and the currents are changing what they've long relied on to eat. So if you're lucky enough to be able to move and, you know, reorient yourself to a different food source, some trees and plants are going up farther north or upslope to cooler temperatures. But of course, not every creature can do that, and those that are stuck in one place or already at the highest point that they can find, it's going to be a rough sail for many decades.
And so then for humans and climate change, or, you know, another thing, I guess, that really, I'm curious what you would say about this with the climate change adaptations that you're seeing biological beings, and we are as well biological. Yeah. So here goes with the psychological bit. A lot of people think of adaptation and resilience as the same thing. And it's best said, perhaps, I'll offer this and you can decide for yourself, that adaptation is a feature of resilience. The first characteristic of resilience is enduring the blunt trauma, enduring the force of the change, and just being able to be there and stay there. The second step is evolution and adaptation. And the third step then is transformation. So that adaptation is a key part of resilience. But it seems that maps on what happens with biological structures consistent with what you were describing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're right. The blunt force of the trauma. So you've heard us say...
Or the change, the change. Requirement of change. It couldn't be good, like getting married.
That's true. Yeah. Or traumatic. You never know.
Yeah.
But if you're a coniferous tree like a lodgepole, and you're in a fire world shaped by fire, and certainly the Intermountain West was shaped by fire long before humans showed up, then you evolved to have these cones that only open up in the presence of fire. And as soon as the fire passes, the seeds drop. They're in that nutrient-rich soil. They sprout like crazy, and there's the whole new forest starting up again. So it's not only surviving the blunt trauma, but surviving with what you need to create the next community. And so that's important too. The plants that come back after a fire will again be dependent on the pollinators. And so we survive and we adapt and we move on as a community. That's the only way we can ever do it. It's not just a human show.
Yeah, and so we're going to be talking about this more because there's a lot more to say. You know, in this time when apathy is, apathy and denial are really our enemies as humans when it comes to how we want to be with regard to climate breakdown and climate repair. It's really important for us to pay attention to what is our adaptation. It is not adaptive to go into apathy. And but the thing about climate change is that the demand for change comes on much more slowly. The scientists have been telling us for 50 years now that it's happening, but we don't necessarily feel it in our everyday lives. And so, you know, this is where we got to start thinking in preventative ways. And that's the evolution, that's the adaptation. And then the transformation comes with things that we are seeing, like electric cars. And we know that there's problems with that because of mining and extraction issues. So there's so many things that to take into account. And we'll be thinking of this more in more depth in our deep dive the second Tuesday of May, and I haven't memorized what day that is.
I have not either.
So the second Tuesday.
One last positive thought to leave you with. Humans have thus far shown themselves to be among the most adaptive creatures
That's absolutely
in
true.
the world. So we certainly are hardwired by nature and being of nature to meet the challenges that we've got in front of us. As Mary suggested, it's maladaptive then to put our heads in the sand or just distract ourselves away because it's too difficult to talk about and I've got too much on my plate already without climate change. There is a way to relate to this tumultuous time. If you don't buy that it's an opportunity, then it's certainly a chance, I think, to reclaim the kinship that we all have with this entire planet and act on behalf of that kinship. And that's a pretty big payoff, no matter what happens in the future.
And you know, I will add to your uplifting statement that there's something else that you might want to think about this month. And that is something that we could refer to as ethical or moral or even spiritual adaptability. And the sentence that comes to mind on that is flexibility without compromise. And essentially what that means is we can talk with anybody when we know who we are and what the world means to us and what is most valuable and how we wish to be with other people. Then we can have conversations over vast differences because we don't have to give that up.
Yeah.
We can be quite flexible in being and listening and being curious about how other people see the world.
Yeah,
So,
and from that amalgamation of the different perspectives probably will come a solution that's better than if it came from either.
no kidding.
either
And
side.
so, okay, so let's talk about this in more depth on the second Tuesday in May.
Second Tuesday in May.
We will send a notice if you are not on our email list, and especially if you decided at some point that you wanted to get off because you had too much of that. You're the one that's going to have to put you back on. We can't.
Yeah.
But you can, any of you can come to our website at well, hang on, here's the win.
Here's the win.
Oh boy. www.fullecology.com, and go down to the bottom of the home page and you can sign up for our newsletter. We remind people about the deep dive and let you know about other things. There's still a space or two left in our retreat.
Yes.
And we're just going to be having one. It's going to be over the solstice, the 17th to the 21st of June. Don't pass up the chance to join us. It's going to be fabulous.
You'll never regret it, never forget it. It's just that kind of a place, and the people who gather are those kind of people.
Those kind of people, that kind of place, be there with us. Please come join us. Write us at connect@fullecology.com. Yes, connect@fullecology.com thing.
And be well and fare thee well from the wild outback of the Catalina Mountains in southern Arizona.
Yes, here we are, sending our love to you for May.
Bye for now.
Have a great month. Bye.